Like when I first started wearing pants, I had conversations with them about that and let them know, hey, this is what I see, in the Bible. I don't see that's there. Ultimately, we've just sought to be really gracious and hopefully patient, like with my family and share those things, but then also realize I understand we can be in totally different places and come to different conclusions. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they will go on their journey and I'm on mine.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, January 19th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yesterday I shared with you the interview that Jinger Duggar Volo completed or did with People magazine, where she talked about her upbringing and the beliefs that she lived under that made her life really difficult, and how leaving the group and the faith was really difficult for her, but she didn't leave her total faith behind. She just left the teachings of Bill Gothard, and she spoke out against how she's not for courting. She doesn't believe that you have to abstain from beverages. She thinks you should be, you can date, you can listen to worldly music, you can wear pants, all the big things that made their family famous and notable for the standards that they set for their daughters and for their kids. Jinger has demolished in her interview. Obviously, this has been met with mixed reactions by fans of the Duggars and by critics of the Duggars. So she's got, on one hand, those that have been critical of the Duggars praising her step forward and her bravery in sharing her story. And then she's got the Duggar huggers spamming her posts on her Instagram and making her feel bad for speaking out against her parents. And Jill Dillard, her older sister, praised her in the comments. So she's getting some praise from her big sister Jill, from her cousin Amy, and she's also getting support from tons and tons of people. But it's really the Duggar loyalists that are having trouble with this, and the fact that we're seeing such a visceral reaction from those that support the Duggars is a cue of how they're probably feeling about the situation. This is not good for them at all, for their brand, because she has demolished their brand with this book. So let's talk about Jill Duggar and Amy supporting Jill while the Duggar huggers lose their minds. Before we dive into today's topic, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed by by clicking the button down there. Also, if you'd like to be notified, click the bell. Make sure to leave some comments if you have something to say. And as always, share the video with your friends if you love this kind of content. Okay, so let's talk about the comments that have been left by Jill and sort of give you a rundown about, Ginger's step forward. When I told you about this book and I talked to you about how, if you really get to know the Duggars circles and the people that are around them, you understand how fundamental faith is to these people. And you understand how being right, or being the most righteous and the most correct form of Christianity, is a huge thing for these people. And so they believe that their form of Christianity is literally the best form, and they are making the best disciples of God. And so that brand and that very cult-like atmosphere is what Jinger grew up under, where she couldn't wear pants. She was made to believe that rock music would make her go to, rebellion, that, spending time with friends outside of her circle was wrong, birth control was wrong, alcohol was wrong. Yeah, that's right. She's totally on board with birth control, seemingly suggesting that I'm not going to have a million kids like my mom and dad did. Some of her siblings are right on track to having a million kids and still deep inside this, but she is not. So with her video and with her interview and all these things coming out, a lot of people were obviously connecting the things that she was saying to the Duggars. And I think I had told you guys about this in a video where I did it way back when we found out about this book, that I'd spoken to someone that was friends with the Duggars for such a long time. And they said that there's no worse way to offend Jim Bob than to attack his Christianity and to make him look like a fool publicly by denouncing his beliefs. And so this is going to humiliate him in a way maybe more so than Josh. It's shocking to believe that, but it's true because he has built his brand on what Ginger is now denouncing. And she's getting a lot of public support. Their tiny dwindling support network is loud on her Instagram, but it's a small minority, just so you know. So on Instagram, these are some of the comments that she got from her family members. Amy Rochelle King, her cousin, said, "So proud of you. Freedom looks beautiful on you." Her aunt Deanna Duggar, Jim Bob's sister, said, "You look beautiful. I'm so proud of you, Ginger. I can't wait to read your book." And Jill Dillard, her older sister, said, "You are gorgeous, and I love your hair and wardrobe and beach vibes." Two, yes, proud of you and Jer, as I'm sure you continue to support each other, as you have processed so much, I'm sure, and yet continued to cling to each other and Jesus. Walking the straight and narrow as God leads you is harder than walking completely one way or another. Love you. Praying continued peace and strength for y'all. The book announcement was liked by Amy King, Carlin Bates, Jill Dillard, Deanna Duggar, Tori Roloff, and Derek Dillard. Other siblings have not commented at all on the book or even liked it. Now, that doesn't mean some of the sisters might not support her, but I think some of them might be afraid to congratulate her or even acknowledge this book for fear of retaliation from her parents. Something that she had said was that she was afraid of financial ruin for leaving. And that means shunning, cut off financially by her parents. And that's a real threat that has been told to me by multiple people that is used by Jim Bob against his kids, allegedly. This is something that Derek and Jill had talked about how their dad, how Jim Bob was very threatening when they left this group. So I believe she has gone through threats leaving this group. And I think it's going to get probably worse now because they've built a brand under extremists who are very fundamental, who believe that they're the most righteous out there and are the most willing to call other people out and to try to, like, in a way, shame anyone that goes against the grain, because bringing her back into the fold is more important than encouraging her to have critical thinking skills. So Jill is supporting her, her aunt. Deanna is supporting her. Derek is supporting her. Amy is supporting her. She's got Kaylee Tull, who is Kaylee Holt, who is one of the Holt sisters of the Holt family that the Duggars were close to. There was a lot of friends that I noticed that have left that have made comments to her, just like praising her for sharing her story. So she has a lot of support of those that have left, but then there's a lot of people that haven't left that are really angry. And there's a lot of like bot accounts that are leaving nasty comments. So much so that a lot of people in the comments were actually surprised at the negative backlash that she's getting. But this is to be expected because she's threatening the very foundation of the people that have profited off of legalism and this cult and this fundamentalism that has really plagued and infected a lot of the mainstream culture, specifically in the early, 2000s into the mid 2000s. And it really was like a product of the whole like 80s and 90s and a result of women getting liberated. So the anti-women out there are panicking and like condemning her for speaking out against her parents. So if they're seeing it this way, there's no doubt that the Duggars are seeing it this way. So to give you an example, this is what a fake account that's probably run by a bot or one of the Duggar huggers or one of the culties, and it says, "Becoming free indeed and profiting off of stabbing my parents in the back. Great job, Mr. and Mrs. Judas. What trend setters." This is what happens when Jill and you marry weak men. Can't wait to see the article your children will eventually write about y'all. Someone else wrote, "Ginger, I came from a denomination very much like yours. My focus is not to talk about the denomination. I left and did not look back. Your parents brought you up in a manner they knew. Not sure why it's necessary for you to write a book and the need to have to be interviewed, but it's your business." Another comment like this: "I agree to disagree with sharing your story. All families have issues, and just wondering if a book was written because you were on TV and that's why you're known. my upbringing wasn't the greatest, but by God's grace, I found him, and a lot of healing has happened over many years. Again, I agree to disagree. So there's this offensive notion that she would shame her parents and shame her family, because a huge part of the IBLP is like to blindly obey and honor your parents, regardless of what they do, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they believe. And what I thought was very poignant about the way that she spoke, and a lot of you noticed this, is that Ginger's sing-songy, like wispy voice is gone. And she actually sounds like a woman, like an adult woman when she speaks, and she sounds like she's thinking for herself in a way that she wasn't doing before, where she was having that mousy, "Hi, I'm Michelle Duggar and I'm joyfully available" attitude that she used to have when she spoke. It's a very different way she spoke, and she didn't have all of those same lingos that she had before when she was speaking. So she's getting rid of some of that dialect that she had learned and picked up over the years through the IBLP. So her whole demeanor is changing, and that's threatening the people that are directly either benefit from it in that sect, or those that are profiting off of it. So to give you an example, the transformed wife is really having a hard time with this. Like, she's angry that she would dare to go after Bill Gothard. And she said this: "Instead of delving into one's childhood and past hurts from parents, as most marriage counselors do with couples they're mentoring, couples need to be taught who they are in Christ and walk in obedience to him. This is the answer to having a great marriage, not blaming parents or others for how we are as an adult." What's funny is I didn't hear her blaming anyone. She just expressed how she felt in her experience, Lori. And she says, "We are to be known for pouring love and grace upon others. Yes, this even includes our parents. An ungodly world is watching us. We are being salt and light, or simply promoting the idea that Christians are no different than unbelievers. Was not Christ's death on the cross and resurrection enough for you?" Lori has built her entire brand and has really been able to capitalize on the fame of the Duggars and her line of fundamentalism. And she's in this niche of really extremist bloggers that truly are detrimental to women and misogynistic, in my opinion, and really set women back and promote really harmful ideologies to women, and do so in a way that they feel like they're helping women be empowered when they're really not. And of course it benefits Lori to condemn Jinger for speaking out against her parents, because God forbid one of Lori's kids do something similar to her and say that my parents were crap and what I learned was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, parents are not infallible. And if a parent makes a decision that is abusive or has caused you pain and harm, you have a right as an adult to speak your truth, whether you want to or not. And you can do it in a way that's gracious, where you're not actually like saying harmful things about them, but speaking to the ideologies that caused you pain. And I feel like that's what Jinger was doing, like speaking to the harmful, damaging ideologies that her parents brought into the home, not saying my dad and mom are horrible people, but instead saying these ideologies are wrong. It's not the same, but they take things so personally. Like, it's, you cannot say anything bad about your parents. And yes, I was talking to one of my sources that's known the Duggars for years and years and years. And what they said is that, it's what they're proud of Jinger the most for is taking the steps to identify the Bible as the Bible is read and written, and to understand in the Bible from a biblical perspective the teachings, and not just rely on someone like Bill Gothard to tell her that this is what she needs to do and that's what she needs to do and this is how she needs to be and that's how she needs to be, and instead goes to the Bible to do the work. Because the way that this person described it as, the Duggars are theologically lazy, who don't want to do the work, that don't want to understand the Bible, that would rather be told what to think and feel and follow that, because they don't want to actually take the academic time and theological time to understand what's in the Bible and where things are wrong. And what the biggest thing that the source said to me is that she has no responsibility to honor error. If she was following something that was false and damaging, she should not have to honor error. And it's her right as a public figure to stand up against that error and say, we got it wrong, or I'm sorry I got it wrong, or what I believed is wrong, to correct the error. it is a threat to the Duggars, and they're not going to like it. The source said that behind the scenes, Jim Bob is probably seething and losing control, because this to him is going to feel more of a threat to him than what Josh has done, because he can still somehow twist Josh into, he's been set up, it's all a lie, this is all fake, the liberal media is against us. But how does he answer to his own daughter writing a book like this? Well, they can slander her and go after her and call her weak and disparage her and say that she's dishonoring God or her parents. But is she really? And a lot of people, some people of critics are angry because they're like, well, she's still under John MacArthur. And I'll just say this, like, I speak to a lot of people that have left this cult, and it's not this kind of process where you suddenly abandon the belief and you are suddenly out. Like, some people do cut off their faith and they are done, and others don't. And some people take steps where they move from one to another until they leave. And I did something very similar when I left Catholicism. It took me a while to break out of the legalism of Catholicism that I grew up under, where I was very afraid of God, and I was very afraid that I was going to be going to hell, and everything that I do made God mad, to get to a point where then I found another religion where I felt like I was more free, to then finally deconstruct fully, to come to a place where I am now atheist. Not everyone goes on the same path as I did, but it's not like this process where you immediately go to, oh, this was wrong, so all of them are wrong. She might go through 3 different processes or 3 different churches before she might ever denounce it. Or maybe she stays in her faith and this is where she stays. Regardless, if she's saying, I'm willing to accept you regardless of who you are and what you are, and I'm not going to say that you can't wear this and you can't wear that, and I'm not going to be super judgmental, I think that's a good step. I think the best thing and what I'm looking for in this book is that she has this open mind, and she did say that she wants her daughters to be open to going to college, having careers, the things that she didn't get to do, and giving her daughter the experiences that she didn't have. Breaking a cycle is hard, and I think Jill has really paved the way for her sister. I think having cousins and family that are out has helped. I think having a wide network of friends that are out. I think having a husband that is not in legalism. Well, John MacArthur's group is legalistic, but not as bad as Bill Gothard. So Ginger's getting slammed. She's threatening all of Fundyland, but in truth, her freedom is a threat to their pocketbooks and to their platforms. And so I say, if you've got people pissed off, you're doing something right. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.